Hey, third graders. Welcome to Wednesday and Thursday. Our purpose as readers today. I can ask and answer questions. I can identify key details to determine the main idea. Here's our essential question that we will be thinking about. How do landmarks help us to understand our country's story? Here's your to-do. You'll watch this mini lesson. Then you will read and record the National Mall. That will be on your Reading Wonder backpack. You will have time tomorrow to finish this as well. You will complete your workbook page in your Reading Wonders backpack. It is titled 10/14. That means October 14th, Wednesday and Thursday, key detail, main idea. So our purpose is to identify key details to determine the main idea. Well, how do I identify the main idea? Here are some ways I like to identify the main idea when I am reading a text. I like to use the headings. Headings give us the purpose of knowing what the section is going to be about. We'll show you what the heading is when we get into our text. What else do? I use the sentences in each section. I connect those sentences to the headings. Does it relate to the heading? That's a question that I ask myself. Because remember, we have two purposes today. One, I can ask and answer questions. And two, I can identify key details to determine the main idea. I also like to look for repeated ideas. What are the repeated connections in the text? After I identify those key details, I ask myself, who or what is the section about? And then I ask myself, so what about that who or what? So what about them? Well, third graders, let's put this into action. We have already read this text once for the gist and flow and to identify the genre of expository text. So we're going to close read this section, Exploring the Canyon. Now remember, I said, how do I find the main idea? And I think about those headings. This is a heading, Exploring the Canyon. It's introducing these two paragraphs. So notice the font letters are larger than these letters. Sometimes it's in a different color, or it might be darker. The letters might be darker. And it's kind of like a title where the important words have a capital letter, E and C. So Exploring the Canyon. Now I ask myself, well, what is this section going to be about? It's going to be about exploring the canyon. So as I read these sentences, I'm going to be thinking, what sentences are telling me about exploring the canyon? And those are important sentences or key details. We also talked about repeated ideas. So the repeated ideas are going to connect to exploring the canyon. Let's read on. You can watch Mrs. Rieger while I complete this task. Many tourists visit the Grand Canyon. Okay, right here, I already have a repeated idea. So we were talking about exploring. Let me see if I can get my highlighter to work here. Sometimes it likes to work, sometimes it doesn't. Today it is not working. I couldn't get my highlighter to work, but I think I can get my pen to work. Exploring. Right here I see tourists. Well, tourists explore. And then canyon. Again, I see Grand Canyon. So here are repeated ideas, and this sentence connects to my heading. Let's read on. In fact, almost 5 million people take a trip to this national treasure each year. People come from around the world to hike the dusty trails. Here's another repeated idea. Exploring, hike. Tourists and exploring and hiking are all connected because we're adventuring. They all have the same idea. They take boat rides down the Colorado River. All right, here's a sentence that shows how people will explore the canyon. This is an example. They stands for the tourists, take boat rides down the Colorado River. So how are they exploring? Taking boat rides. How is it the canyon? Because the Colorado River goes through the canyon. That is a key detail that shows exploring the canyon. They gaze across miles of massive red and brown cliffs. Here's another key detail. They gaze across miles. That's exploring. You're looking across the canyon. Massive red and brown cliffs. Those red and brown cliffs are the canyon. That is also a key detail to exploring the canyon. Nature lovers visit the Grand Canyon too. Okay, we have a repeated idea. Tourists, hike, exploring, nature lovers, canyon, Grand Canyon. Now, I'm going to ask a question because we also want to ask and answer questions. I want to know, how do nature lovers explore the canyon? Here's my answer. They come to look for animals. So nature lovers look for animals. That's how they explore the Grand Canyon. And here's another sentence. They peek at the hundreds of different kinds of plants. So how do they explore the canyon? Well, they're looking for animals and different kinds of plants. Nature lovers explore the canyon by spotting eagles and seeing mountain lions. Nature lovers explore the canyon. It says they may spy snakes and spiders, and some may even see bats. Some visitors also come to learn about the canyon's history. Now, we are going to take these key details and we're going to record them on our graphic organizer for key details and main idea. So again, let's review what we were able to do as a reader. We used the heading, gives us a clue to what this section is going to be about, exploring the canyon. We then looked for sentences and repeated ideas that connect to our heading. We found some repeated ideas were tourists, hiking, nature lovers, exploring. We found some key ideas, key details that showed exploring the canyon. Tourists take boat rides down the Colorado River. Tourists gaze across miles of massive red and brown cliffs. And we have nature lovers who explore the Grand Canyon by looking for animals and plants. So let's record that on our graphic organizer. Again, we used our heading, exploring the canyon, to help us think about what this section was going to be about. People exploring the canyon. And then we looked for sentences and repeated ideas. People hike the trails and take boat rides down the river. This key detail connects directly to that heading, exploring the canyon. How are people exploring? People hike. Where in the canyon? The trails and boat rides down the river. People, like to gaze across massive red and brown cliffs. So how are they exploring? They're gazing across the cliffs. What part connects to canyon? Massive red and brown cliffs. Nature lovers come to see animals and plants. How are they exploring? They're looking for animals and plants in the canyon. Now we're going to ask ourselves, who or what are all these details about? Well, we identified that tourists and people repeated. Exploring and nature lovers. So what do people, tourists, they, and nature lovers have in common? Well, they're all people. So what are they doing? So what about our people? Well, look at our heading. They're exploring the canyon. People explore the canyon. And now as a third grader, we want to expand on that. Many people like to explore the Grand Canyon for different reasons. Boat rides, just to gaze across the cliffs, look for plants and animals. Third graders, we just successfully met our purpose for this week. I can ask and answer questions. We asked a lot of questions and found a lot of answers. We asked, how do people explore the canyon? We asked, how do nature lovers explore the canyon? We asked, who is this section about? And then we asked, so what about the people? We also met this purpose. I can identify key details to determine the main idea. We found 3 key details that connect back to what? You got it, this heading. And in an informational text or expository text, that heading is very important. It clues us in to what the section is going to be about. We asked ourselves, what do all of these key details have in common? The who or what? People. And then we asked ourselves, so what about the people? Many people like to explore the Grand Canyon for different reasons. And we developed that main idea. When you are creating your main idea, make sure you have those complete sentences. Enjoy your readings, third graders.